Police responded to a distress call from an Oak Street apartment building on October 15, 2021. Inside, they found the lifeless body of 32-year-old Ethan Reed, a well-liked high school teacher in the area, lying in a pool of his own blood. This discovery would haunt them for years to come. His partner of 2 years, Olivia Rogan, a 29-year-old software engineer, is the main suspect. As detectives dug deeper into the case, they discovered an unsettling network of monitoring, coercion, and increasing authority that had entrapped Ethan in the months preceding his passing. His abode was filled with carefully hidden cameras that silently revealed a story of obsession and paranoia. Long before she met Ethan Reed, Olivia Rogan's journey to become the main character of a horrific real crime story started. Olivia Rogan, born in 1993, was raised in a middle-class Portland suburb by Margaret and James Rogan. Those who were close to the family noticed Olivia's strong demand for approval and attention at a young age. She was an exceptionally bright child, always at the top of her class, but she struggled to form lasting friendships, recalled Margaret Rogan in an interview after her daughter's arrest. At first, I thought it was just shyness, but as she got older, I noticed how possessive she could be of the few friends she did make, Margaret said. Olivia would turn gloomy and reclusive whenever they spent time with other kids. This behavior carried over into her adolescence. Alex Chen, Olivia's high school lover, subsequently provided detectives with information regarding her incessant want to know his whereabouts. She would call or text incessantly when we weren't together. Should I fail to reply promptly, she would appear wherever she believed me to be. I assumed at the time that it was just because she cared so much. Olivia did well academically in spite of these interpersonal difficulties. After graduating from high school as her class valedictorian, she enrolled at Stanford University to study computer technology. Olivia's tyrannical inclinations discovered a fresh outlet in the realm of technology there. Sarah Jennings, Olivia's roommate in college, recalled her obsession with surveillance software and coding. She was brilliant at it, but sometimes it felt like she was using her skills to keep tabs on everyone around her. Olivia would inadvertently bring up details about our classmates that she couldn't have learned without some sort of digital spying. Following her honors graduation, Olivia was hired by a prominent tech startup. Her co-workers characterized her as diligent and driven, frequently putting in long hours to polish her code. But turbulent, fleeting relationships remained a feature of her personal life. Olivia and Jason Tran had a 6-month romance that Jason Tran called intense and suffocating. He remarked, "She wanted to know everything about my day, my plans, and my thoughts. She would get upset or cunning when I tried to put limits. It was draining." Olivia had a string of strained relationships by the time she returned to Ashland in the early months of 2020 and took a remote job with her employer. However, nobody who knew her could have foreseen the tragic turn that meeting Ethan Reed would bring in her life. Olivia's turbulent journey was in sharp contrast to the life of Ethan Reed. Ethan was the youngest of 3 children born in a close-knit household in Ashland in 1990. Their upbringing was perfect, according to his older sister, Amanda Reed. "We grew up surrounded by nature, spending our winters skiing and our summers hiking in the mountains. Ethan showed a love of learning and a natural ability to connect with people from a young age. He was also known for being the peacemaker and his ability to make anyone laugh." Mrs. Elaine Hoffman, his English teacher in high school, had kind words to say about him. "Ethan had a way of bringing out the best in his classmates. He was polite, patient, and possessed a contagious love of books. I always felt he would make a great teacher someday." Mrs. Hoffman was right when she made her prediction. Ethan returned home to teach at Ashland High School after earning a degree in English literature from the university. Stable, committed partnerships characterized Ethan's personal life. Even after their friendly breakup, his undergraduate girlfriend Laura Simmons stayed close to him, saying, "Ethan was always so balanced. He was very devoted and encouraging, but he also respected his independence. Our career paths were taking us in different directions, so we broke up, but there was never any drama." Olivia Rogan and Ethan Reed met for the first time on a lovely Saturday afternoon in May 2020 at a nearby farmer's market. Still getting used to life in Ashland, Olivia had gone exploring in her new environment. A frequent visitor to the market, Ethan was selecting fresh vegetables for the coming week. Meeting his gaze over an organic apple display, Ethan, ever the amiable local, started a discussion on which apples were ideal for baking. Olivia was drawn to his friendly demeanor and laid-back style, which caused her to stay at the stall far longer than she had planned. They found that they both loved trekking and classic literature as they conversed. Olivia's sharp mind and quick wit captivated Ethan, who proposed that they go on a trek the next weekend. Olivia enthusiastically agreed, sensing a connection right away. They hiked up to Grizzly Peak, which had stunning views of the Rogue Valley for their first date. Afterwards, Ethan's buddy Mark recalls, Ethan returned from that hike on cloud 9. Over the course of the following few weeks, Olivia and Ethan's connection quickly developed. He couldn't stop gushing about how intelligent and witty Olivia was, and how they conversed non-stop for hours on end. They explored the natural splendor of Southern Oregon, and spent long evenings reading literature and eating together. They appeared to be the ideal match to everyone around them. But even in these early stages of their romance, Olivia was beginning to show hints of her possessiveness. Blown away by the excitement of new love, Ethan ignored these early warning signs. Amanda, Ethan's sister, observed that Olivia seemed to monopolize his time. She'd call or text constantly when they weren't together, and she always seemed to have a reason why Ethan couldn't join family gatherings without her. Ethan dismissed his friend Mark's worries about the relationship's intensity with a laugh, saying, "She's just excited about us. Once we're more settled, it will calm down." Little did Ethan realize that this was only the start of a cycle that would tighten around him, severing his connection to the people and life he had worked so hard to build. Even though Ethan never formally asked Olivia to move in with him, by the fall of 2020, she had practically moved into his apartment. She started to have an impact on everything in his life, including his diet and leisure activities. Jessica Lawson, an English teacher who works with Ethan and is also a friend, observed behavioral changes in him at work. He started declining invitations to after-school happy hours, something he'd always enjoyed before. Jessica recounted, "When I questioned him about it, he said Olivia wasn't comfortable with him being out late." Olivia had authority over Ethan's social media presence, which made it appear strange since she knew the majority of us and had even attended a few of our events. His friends noted that updates on his usually active Facebook and Instagram profiles became sporadic and impersonal. Ethan would dismiss inquiries, claiming he was attempting to be more discreet online. However, what gave rise to the most concern was Olivia's attempts to keep Ethan apart from his family. During the 2020 holidays, Amanda Reed recalled a particularly unsettling event. "We always have a big family Christmas at our parents' house," she remarked. However, Ethan had to cancel at the last minute that year, telling Olivia and himself. Olivia used a range of emotional manipulation techniques to hold on to Ethan. When I questioned him, he stated that Olivia wasn't feeling well and that he needed to stay with her, but I could hear her in the background, sounding absolutely well. If he disobeyed her, she would alternate between showering him with love and treating him like a cold, silent target. A camping trip that had been planned for months was described by Ethan's friend Mark. The night before we were supposed to leave, Ethan called to cancel. He seemed so hopeless. Olivia was invited and had declined, so he said that she was furious that he was leaving without her. However, as 2021 went on, Olivia's conduct grew more unpredictable. She had no proof to back up her accusations of infidelity, so she started calling Ethan names. Supposedly to bring Ethan lunch, she would drop by the high school without warning. But co-workers noticed that she appeared to be surveying the room, as if she was searching for indications of illicit activity. Emma Chen, one of Ethan's students, subsequently testified about an unsettling incident. Miss Rogan entered our classroom during lunch break. Even though Mr. Reed wasn't present, she persisted in asking us questions about him. It felt really weird and invasive. Ethan stayed in the relationship despite the growing evidence of Olivia's domineering tendencies because it felt really weird and invasive. His growing tension and anxiety were noticed by others close to him, but he would dismiss them and frequently offer justifications for Olivia's behavior. In the summer of 2021, his sister Amanda approached him head-on, saying, "I told him I was worried that this didn't seem like a healthy relationship, but he just became combative. He remarked that I didn't get Olivia, that she needed more confidence because she had been harmed in the past." Olivia's need for control and paranoia reached new heights when she made a decision that would permanently change the direction of her relationship with Ethan, and ultimately lead to its terrible end. She genuinely thought he could help her get over her fears. While Ethan was away at a teaching conference for a weekend in late August 2021, Olivia installed covert surveillance cameras throughout the apartment. Unbeknownst to him, her objective was to watch over him, ensure his commitment, and appease her irrational suspicions of infidelity. Olivia's degree in computer science allowed her to set up a complex surveillance network that gave her access to every area of their house. She watched every move Ethan made over the following weeks while he was at home, sometimes catching him on camera, and other times hearing him on hidden microphones. A complete invasion of his privacy ensued as she compiled a meticulous journal of his daily activities and conversations. She attempted to control his behavior by subtly modifying her queries and remarks to reflect the information she had gleaned from her observations. Ethan soon found himself in a maze of accusations, illogical inquiries, and an overpowering sense of Olivia's omnipresence. His attempts to express his frustration were met with gaslighting and manipulation. She claimed, "You're imagining things. I only want to ensure our relationship is secure." Ethan's friends and co-workers noticed a change in his demeanor. He grew increasingly withdrawn and paranoid. The incident that caused Ethan's breaking point happened in early October 2021. Ethan intended to speak at a school event and hang out with his buddies later. Olivia insisted on going with him, though, which led to a heated discussion. According to Ethan's confidant, Jessica Lawson, "I could tell he was deeply unhappy, but he didn't know how to escape the situation. He genuinely wanted to make things right with Olivia, but she was smothering him. He was broken when she forbade him from attending his father's birthday celebration because she believed he was attempting to avoid her. He made up his mind to leave." After that, Ethan met Olivia and said he wanted to end their relationship. Although Olivia was devastated, she kept her composure and promised Ethan she would work things out with him if he gave her another opportunity. She stayed up late that night devising a strategy to keep him. The night before he was scheduled to meet his father, she sent him several texts that got increasingly frantic and accusatory, revealing how much she had watched him. To tell Ethan the truth about her surveillance, Olivia ultimately made a decision in a fit of jealousy and desperation. Ethan was taken aback when he learned of the extent of her prying and was furious and betrayed. He announced to her in a tense chat on October 14th that he was ending their relationship permanently and asked her to leave the flat. Olivia's obsession took a deadly turn in the ensuing hours. The police believe she spent the entire night alone, brooding, and finally arrived at Ethan's flat the next morning with a sharp object. She attacked him in the heat of the moment after forcing her way into the apartment, stabbing him multiple times before fleeing. Amanda, Ethan's sister, and Mark, his friend, both recall the anguish and dread in their final communications with Ethan. Amanda remarked, "He texted me that morning to say he had made up his mind and was going to ask her to leave. He told me that he felt like he was being observed at all times and that he was terrified for his life." Ethan's desperate calls for assistance went unanswered since he was unable to protect himself from Olivia's unrelenting rage. The inquiry uncovered Olivia's obsessive monitoring, manipulative practices, and unrestrained jealousy. Olivia was apprehended on October 16, 2021, after investigators followed her using the GPS information from her phone. When Olivia was caught, she appeared calm and unrepentant explaining that her actions were done out of love and a desire to keep Ethan. In her own words, "I just wanted to make sure he wouldn't leave me." During the trial, the prosecution detailed Olivia Rogan's intense obsession and control over Ethan Reed, supported by a wealth of evidence from the hidden surveillance devices found in their apartment. Testimony from Ethan's friends, colleagues, and family painted a picture of a once vibrant and outgoing individual whose life had become increasingly consumed by fear and isolation due to Olivia's manipulation. The defense argued that Olivia's actions stemmed from a severe mental illness exacerbated by her past relationship traumas, and claimed she had acted in a state of diminished responsibility. Olivia's trial became a high-profile case, drawing significant media attention due to the shocking nature of the crime and the psychological elements involved. Experts testified about her obsessive-compulsive tendencies and her pathological need for control, which escalated over time. Olivia showed little emotion during the trial, maintaining a calm demeanor that contrasted sharply with the horrific details of the case. She occasionally expressed regret, but primarily portrayed herself as a victim of her fears and insecurities. After a month-long trial, the jury found Olivia Rogan guilty of second-degree murder. The judge, citing the premeditated nature of the surveillance and the calculated manipulation leading up to the murder, sentenced her to 25 years to life in prison. In his final remarks, the judge condemned her actions as a gross violation of trust and a tragic example of how unchecked obsession can lead to devastating consequences. In the aftermath of the trial, Ethan Reed's family and friends established a foundation in his memory, dedicated to supporting victims of domestic abuse and raising awareness about the dangers of obsessive relationships. The Foundation's work has helped countless individuals recognize and escape similar situations, ensuring that Ethan's legacy endures through the lives positively impacted by his story. The case left a lasting impression on the Ashland community, serving as a grim reminder of the importance of recognizing the signs of coercive control and the need for timely intervention. Ethan Reed's tragic end highlighted the darker side of obsessive relationships, prompting a broader discussion on mental health and the importance of safeguarding personal freedoms in intimate partnerships.